Hey guys, it is C Foster here. Thank you so much for joining me at Hello Wealth. This video I wanted to make because I wanted to just give you guys the backstory of my life, I guess. A very high level backstory of my life so you guys can understand how I even got to this point. I wanted to let you guys in on that information because I wanted to show you that I came from very, humble beginnings. A lot of times when we're watching these YouTube videos and we're seeing these couples that have paid off a gazillion dollars in debt and they're living these debt-free lives, and we think that they come from situations where they always learn this stuff growing up. We think that they came from maybe a wealthy family where they had a lot of help, and a lot of times that's not the case. A lot of times, they come from situations where they didn't learn that growing up, which is how they even got in the situation that they were in originally in the first place, right? And so I don't want you to see my videos, down the line and be like, oh, well, yeah, it's easy for you to do this or do that when you make this money, or I want you guys to see exactly where I came from and what my situation was and everything that I overcame to get to the point that I am right now, and hopefully down the line I'll be in an even better position. Before I get into that story, I'm very long-winded, so just gotta work with me, okay? Before I get into that story, I want to make sure that I let you guys know that y'all need to subscribe to this channel. Please subscribe to this channel. I don't want you to miss any of the videos that I have coming up for you guys. Also, when you subscribe to the channel, make sure you click the notification bell so you can get all of the alerts for when I post, so you can hear my voice and see my face and get the information that you need. So, going into my life story. So, I grew up in a very small city in Northeast Ohio called Warren, Ohio. I have an emotional connection to that city because, I love going back home. A lot of people don't like going back home. I love going back home. I get to be around my family. I get to be around my friends that I had, growing up. I love going back there. But unfortunately, Warren is kind of one of those cities where there's not a lot of opportunity. And so I knew that when I turned 18, I wanted to leave. And so when I turned 18, I did what a lot of people from that city do, and they leave, they go as far away as they can. Well, what I did was I went as far away from the city as I could without leaving the state, because I went to college and I didn't want to pay out of state tuition. So I went to Cincinnati, Ohio. I was there for a couple years, and I moved to Columbus, Ohio, and then a job opportunity brought me to San Antonio, Texas. So San Antonio is where I am right now. Now, all that time that I was in college and when I first moved to San Antonio, I made a lot of terrible financial decisions. My mom, she's very responsible. I don't really know what happened when I was born. I don't know what happened to me, but I did not get responsibility at all. Like when I was born, I didn't get any of her responsibility genes. I was like the complete opposite with my money, with a lot of things. I just wasn't a responsible person. I maxed out credit cards, when they have the little credit card offers on campus. I would take full advantage of those credit card offers, get my little credit card, max it out. I also did it for the free t-shirt because, when you're a struggling college student, you just, find ways to get money and clothes however you can, right? And so I made all the worst financial decisions. Even when I moved into my first place by myself, I struggle with the bills. I got an apartment that I couldn't really afford. I did have the help from my mom, but I was kind of, I never really wanted to ask her for anything more than what I had to, right? So I'm asked her to pay a little cell phone bill. That was okay, but I didn't want to say, hey, can you pay my rent, right? Because, I wanted her to think that I was responsible, even though I was very far from responsible. And so that was pretty much how I was for a very long period of time. Even when I met my husband and, we were dating at the time, unfortunately, we had the same spending habits. And so we would just be destructive together. So when I had my son, when we got married, nothing really changed. I didn't really start to realize what I was doing and how bad it was until we wanted to buy a house. Because up until that point, we never, everything always worked out. We got the cars that we wanted, because I wouldn't just like completely not pay stuff, right? Like, I had a pretty good payment history. You got a good payment history, don't really matter what your credit score is, they'll give you a car, right? So we had the cars that we wanted. We had these really nice apartments. We had these really nice things. Everything was grand, even though our credit, our finances, none of it was in order. So we wanted to buy a house. We decided to stay in San Antonio. We wanted to buy a house, and I started to research, because I'm a researcher. Started to research, how can we get into a house? I knew our credit wasn't great. So I'm like, okay, what are the requirements to get into the house? And our credit was shot, and our debt to income ratio was shot. I mean, everything was shot. And so I was kind of like, well, we ain't gonna ever get into a house if we keep doing what we're doing. By then, our biggest thing was like eating out. We were spending way too much money eating out. And so that was a time, that was about 2 years ago. That was a time that I finally got to a point where I'm just like, okay, we can't keep doing what we're doing. Like, we got this far doing it. We got this far, racking up debt and all that. But we can't do this anymore if we want to get into a house. It was the only thing we didn't have that we wanted. And so my friend Michael, Mrs. Michael on Instagram, she is really, really good at budgeting and saving and all of that. And so she helped me in the beginning to just get my budget in order. And we set like weekly goals. I think we met weekly. I helped her with her YouTube channel. She helped me with my budget. And I was really shocked at just some of the things that I could cut back on. Like, I didn't know about trying to find cheaper insurance, right? Because I'm like, we had a good driving record. How would I be able to find anything cheaper than what we have? We should already have the lowest, or the amount of money that she saves just using coupons, when she's buying her groceries. And there were so many different things that I learned, and I was really able to get our budget to a point. It took a lot of work. It took like a year for us to get our budget to exactly where we wanted it. It doesn't really take that long, but that's how long it took me, because it was a transition. It was like I was trying to undo my bad spending habits that I had for years and years and years. That's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's not realistic to think that it's going to be something that you do in just one day. You're completely undoing like a decade of damage. And so, we did that. Then, my next thing was for me to tackle my credit and my husband's credit. And I did a lot of research, just to figure out like, okay, how do I repair my credit? And that is how we got to where we are today. That might seem like a short story, but I mean, basically my story is, for like 10 years, I had terrible spending habits and I was terrible financially. And then in the last 2 years, I just kind of reversed and relearned how to be with my money. And I'm so thankful for that. We were recently approved to build our home. So we are right now in the process of building our dream home. And so don't think that if your credit is 400 and you're not making that much money in your eyes, like, don't give up, because you never know what your situation is going to be like a year from now, 2 years from now. You could completely turn it around, but you have to take that first step. You have to make that effort. You can't keep doing what you've always been doing. You have to take risks. You have to put yourself out there. There are a lot of different things that you have to change about yourself to change your situation. It takes so much more than words. It takes effort. It takes a lot of effort for us to undo what we have learned and the bad habits that we're used to from the past few decades that we've been doing. And so yes, it does take time, and it does take effort, but it's extremely, extremely worth it. It's so worth it. You'll look back a year later and you'll just be like, wow, like, I can't believe that I am at this point and I was at this low point just a year ago. You know, when you first start working towards it, it won't feel like a lot is happening. And then you'll look back on it and you'll be like, oh my God, like so much has changed because you are creating good habits. It's not a one-time thing. It's a lifestyle change. And so, yes, I hope that this video will, you know, be motivation for you guys to start your journey and not be intimidated by, you know, the goals that you have and you've set for yourself. You know, just go ahead and dive in, and you'll be surprised at the outcome when you look back a year later, 2 years later, 10 years later. You'll be like, oh my gosh, I never ever thought in a million years I can make it here after, you know, how much I messed up before, right? So again, make sure you subscribe. Hope this video was helpful, and I will see you guys in my next video. Peace.